Here are week 3 NFL predictions. Last week we were okay. We went 10-6. We could be a lot better though. We missed some games we probably should have got, but we did get the Saints against the Cowboys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description and submit your video ideas. Let's get right into it. First game we have the Patriots going to New York or to New Jersey to play the Jets. The Patriots haven't looked too bad the first 2 weeks of the season. First week they beat a very solid playoff contending team like the Bengals. Then the second week they barely lost to the Seahawks. The Jets got blown out by the 49ers, then eked out a win against the Titans. So honestly, I think these teams are a lot closer than what some people think. I think the Patriots have started off the season very well, but I do think I'm going to end up giving it to the Jets. But don't be surprised if this one's a blowout. Give me 23-13, the Jets. I honestly think it might be time to start Drake May. I know Jacoby Brissett's giving you okay quarterback play, but I'd rather try to develop the young guy, our third overall pick in Drake May, rather than just being below average with Jacoby Brissett. I'm very excited to see the Garrett Wilson versus Christian Gonzalez matchup, and I think Aaron Rodgers should kind of dice up this Patriots defense. Next up, we're going to have two very surprising slash good teams. It's going to be the Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Throughout the first 2 weeks of the season, the Chargers have dominated the ground game. J.K. Dobbins has looked like a top running back in the NFL. Joe Alt is already one of the best tackles in the NFL, and Jim Harbaugh is really implementing his Michigan college system to LA and just dominating the NFL so far. The Pittsburgh Steelers are doing what the Pittsburgh Steelers do. Justin Fields looks like he's going to once again start for week 3. They've been a not ground heavy team, but they've been the Steelers of old. They've played very good defense. They've basically bent but not break. And overall, we kind of expected them to be here right now. I know the Falcons was a bit iffy, but they of course should have beat that Broncos team. So yeah, very two interesting teams we didn't expect to be here. And I think this should be a low scoring game. I think the ground game is going to be used a lot. But I think overall, I'm going to give the edge to the Steelers. I think they're a slightly more talented team, but I would not be surprised if the Chargers also started off 3-0. Next up, we're going to have the Bills and the Jaguars. Usually, or as of recent, the Jaguars have played very well against the Bills, but I'm going to take the Bills in this one. I think they're just the better team, kind of by far right now. I want to see Keon Coleman play a lot better this week. I want to see Dalton Kincaid turn into a real number one option, a top tight end in the league. So I'm going to go the Bills in this one. I'm going to say 31 to the Jaguars 19. The Bills get the win pretty easily. Next up, we have the Packers going to Tennessee to play the Titans. I think this could be a really good game. I think at this Titans team peak, they could be a wild card team. I think if Will Levis plays consistent football, he could be a guy to lead his team to a wild card spot. He has good weapons in guys like DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley. I think it's just time for him to put it together. And this Packers team, without Jordan Love, it's kind of hard to see this offense really move down the field. They were okay last week against the Colts. What really carried them was that defense and kind of just shutting Anthony Richardson down. This is going to be the Malik Willis revenge game. He had a solid game against the Colts, but I'm going to go the Titans in this one. I might regret it, but I'm going to go Titans 24, Packers 17. Next up, we have the Texans at the Minnesota Vikings. Honestly, I would probably think about going the Vikings if their top two receivers were at full health. Justin Jefferson most likely will play on Sunday, but he dealt with an injury last week, and he's still having some problems apparently with it. Jordan Addison, we know, is also going through an injury. So without the Vikings' top two receivers being at 100%, I think I'm going to lean the Texans in this one. But if the Vikings receivers were at 100%, I would probably go with the upset. I'm going to go Texans though, 27-23. I think CJ Stroud, even though this defense in the Vikings has been solid so far with Brian Flores at the helm, I think Stroud's going to have his way. Nico Collins, been probably the best receiver so far in the NFL this year, is going to have his way. I think Tank Dell's going to play very well. I think Stephon Diggs will as well. They have way too many weapons. We'll see what Joe Mixon does as well. But yeah, the Texans have way too many weapons, and I think they should be beating this Vikings team, despite them having a very solid start to the season. I also think this game's going to confirm that Sam Darnold's a solid starting quarterback in the NFL. The next game, we're going to have the Bears and the Colts. I think this is going to be a very boring and low-scoring game. I was going back and forth on this one, but I think I'm going to decide to go with the Chicago Bears. Last week, Caleb Williams started off solid, and the game of two picks didn't look amazing. Week 1, we know how that went. For the Colts, Anthony Richardson, both week 1 and week 2 has looked inconsistent, turnover prone, and overall not so good. Michael Pittman has not been involved too much with the offense. For that reason, for Anthony Richardson's inconsistencies, I'm going to go with the Bears in this one, 17-16. overall, their defense should be able to lock up Anthony Richardson, and I think it should be a low scoring, boring game, but the Bears and their defense pull it out. The next game we're going to have is going to be the Buccaneers hosting the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go Buccaneers in this one pretty easily. I'm going to go 27 to the Broncos 12. I think the Buccaneers are by far the best. Or I went 17 accidentally. The Buccaneers are by far the best team in this game. I think Baker Mayfield's looked elite as a quarterback in weeks 1 and 2. Chris Godwin has looked elite. His defense has looked very solid. And I think they should be able to easily beat this Broncos team. Bo Nix, not so good, and the rest of that team, including the defense, has been okay. But with that quarterback at the helm, it's kind of tough to not uh, vote against them. Next up, we have the Giants and the Browns. If the Giants were home, I might have thought about going them, but because they're not, give me the Browns in this one. Another probably lower scoring game. I'm going to say Browns get to, let's say Browns get to 18 points, and the Giants end up something like, I don't know, let's say 18 to 13. Giants will score some points. Browns defense will shut them down. Boring game. Probably do not turn this game on. It's going to be so boring. Next game, we have Seahawks and the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins coming off of a Tua Tagovailoa head injury, concussion. He'll be out for whoever knows how long, maybe his whole entire career. Who knows? The Seahawks have looked okay the first 2 weeks. They beat the Patriots, they beat the Broncos, two of the worst teams in the league, and they beat them with a combined score of 5. So if that doesn't tell you something, it probably should because the Seahawks team is definitely a bit underwhelming, maybe a bit overrated, and I think, in my opinion, probably that the worst 2-0 team left in the NFL. I am going to go the Seahawks, though. I think they have a very solid offense, and I think they should be able to beat this Dolphins team 28 to 17. Simple score, but give me the Seahawks. Next up, we're going to have the Panthers and the. I'm sort of done with this Carolina Panthers team. They benched Bryce Young, and overall, as an organization, they're kind of just failing. They failed Sam Darnold. He's now a successful quarterback for the Vikings. They failed Baker Mayfield. He's now putting so far 2 consecutive seasons of playoff football. And it looks like they're potentially going to do the same thing with Bryce Young. This organization is a joke. I think they're terrible. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to predict them to have another win. Give me the Raiders in this one, 27 to 9. I think the Panthers overall is just bad. Next up, we have the Ravens and the Cowboys. Another game I was going back and forth on. I'm not going to call this my game of the week just because these or both of these teams have been underwhelming so far. Ravens starting off 0-2. The Chiefs, okay, that's forgivable. You lost by a toe. But the Raiders, you guys lost to the Raiders. And then the Cowboys, the first game, you did your job. You handled your business against the Browns. But that second game, 44-19 against the Saints. I know they had that new offensive coordinator, and I know we're a very good team apparently, but 44-19 at your home, that's just crazy. I'm going to go the Ravens to this one. The Cowboys really struggled against the run with the Saints with Alvin Kamara. I think we could see something similar because the Ravens got that guy in the backfield and Derrick Henry. Cowboys should be scared. See if Micah Parsons can bounce back. He was talking all that how his team was just not up to it. If the team's up to it, maybe they can get a stop or eat this Ravens team. But I'm going to say no. I got the Ravens in this one. I'm going to say 24 to 23. Next up, I think we're going to have my upset of the week. It's going to be the Chiefs and the Falcons. The Falcons last week got the comeback from behind victory against the Eagles. Kirk Cousins led a game-winning drive past Drake London on a nice route against Darius Slay. And the Chiefs, they took care of business against the Bengals. I mean, they won the game on a questionable penalty. If you ask me, yes, it was a pass interference. But with all that being said, I'm going to go the Falcons in this one. The loss of Isaiah Pacheco is going to hurt the Chiefs a lot, and the Falcons have been really good against the pass. So maybe backup running back like Carson Steele can step up. But I think all signs are pointing that the Falcons can pull off this upset at home as well. I'm going to go the Falcons. I'm going to say 20, I'm going to say 23 to 20, and they upset the Kansas City Chiefs. Next up, we're going to have the Commanders and the Bengals. I think the Bengals haven't been too bad the first 2 weeks. I know that first game against the Patriots was just bad, but the second one, they could have won that game. A couple of plays have just gone their way. They probably could have beat the Chiefs. The Commanders, week 1, did not play that well against the Buccaneers, but week 2, they bounced back. Their defense looked good against the Giants. Giants probably would have won that game too if they had a kicker, but overall, Commanders got the job done. I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. I'm going to say 30 to 17. Bengals beat the Commanders and bounce back for the first one of the season. Next up, we have the Saints hosting the Eagles. It is time, it is time, it is time, and the Saints are going to be beating the Eagles 34 to 20. The Saints, the first 2 weeks, killing the Panthers. I know that's not a lot because it's the Panthers. It's the worst organization ran in football. But that second week, beating the Cowboys 44-19, the Saints team looks real. The Eagles, that last defensive possession against the Falcons was horrid. Kirk Cousins, the man with one leg, dicing you up left and right. That's bad. But yeah, the Saints offense with Clint Kubiak is looking amazing. All praise to Clint Kubiak. He has been perfect for this offense. Cards looked elite. Kamara's looked elite. Chris Olave looked really good in week 2. Rashid Shaheed, week 1 and 2 has looked elite as well. That defense, without Marshawn Lattimore last week, killed the Cowboys. Give me the Saints in this one, 34-20, and we are Super Bowl contenders. Next, we're going to have the Rams and the 49ers. With all the banged up players on that Rams offense, it's hard for me not to go to the 49ers. This would be a very bad loss if they lose. If the Cardinals are able to drop 30 on the Rams, come on, the Niners should be able to do it as well. I'm going to go 30 for the Niners, and I'm going to say 17 for the Rams. Actually, we already got a 17, so I'm actually going to say 30 to 15. Yeah, 30 to 15. Niners beat the Rams. The last game of the week, in my opinion, this is my game of the week. I'm going to have the Lions and the Cardinals. The Cardinals last week just diced up. Kyler Murray with a perfect quarterback rating, dicing up the Rams defense. Marvin Harrison Jr. in that first quarter, 4 catches. What was the stat? It was like 180 whatever yards. Let me chill. It was 4 catches for 130, but 2 touchdowns as well, all in the first quarter. I think he's ready to also have another big game. Connor was solid. Murray was great. Harrison Jr. was great, and they just killed that Rams team who just looks depleted. And the Lions on the other side, they dropped the game to the Buccaneers. Goff was throwing interceptions left and right, and it was looking like that this team might not be the team we thought they were going to be in the NFC. A lot of me wants to say the Cardinals, especially because Amon-Ra St. Brown is injured, and I kind of want to go with them. This could be another upset. My upset of the week is going to be Chiefs and Falcons, but this could be another upset. But I'm going to say it's just going to be a really good game. Give me the Lions in this one, 30 to 33. All the Cardinals have shown me so far this season is that they are a wild card contender for sure. They stuck it in with the Bills. They stayed close for the most part. And then in that second game, beating a team like the Rams by that much, I know they had injuries, but still, Sean McVay was looking lost out there. The Cardinals are real, but I am going to give it to the Lions in this one, 33 to 30. That's going to be it for the prediction video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe. My game of the week is going to be Lions at the Cardinals. My upset of the week is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons. And finally, my blowout of the week is going to be the Raiders and the Panthers. Free Bryce Young. That's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and see you guys next time. Peace.